Plaintiff Rosa Chu met the defendant in junior high, and she was a popular girl while the defendant was a long-haired skater boy who had a crush on her. Rosa claims they reconnected a year ago, and the defendant had cleaned up and was working while going to school. Rosa's suing her former friend for the cost of a watch. Defendant David Pratt says growing up, Rosa was a materialistic girl who always had a lot of nice stuff. And still today, she acts like she's on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. David denies owing Rosa for anything.
Start with you.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to start with a short story about my aunt that 14 years ago when she was in the hospital having her third son, she was watching your show, she's a big fan, and she was looking for a middle name to name her son, and she said, yeah, Matthew Greg, her third son.
Not Junior.
No. I'm not saying that.
I'm just kidding.
And
I'm
she
honored.
went on.
And she did it because she admires the show?
Yeah, she's a fan of your
me?
show, and she wrote you a letter to tell you about it, and you actually wrote her back.
Tell her thank you. How's the son? He's not a criminal, is he?
No. He's
that 14,
an A
and
student, actually.
Huh?
A student.
Really?
A student.
All right, great. I believe I might have been an A student, but I was still a criminal.
Plaintiff Rosa Chu is suing her former friend, who claims Rosa acts like she's on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Go ahead. How do you know the defendant?
We go way, way back. We were neighborhood friends, junior high, teenagers. I was a popular girl. He was had the long hair. He was a skater. Had a crush on me, and that was that.
Did you all date?
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
We knew each other, you know, friends in the neighborhood.
What have the association been since that time?
It was like about a year ago. We ran into each other through a mutual friend, and he was like a whole different person. He was cleaned up. His hair was short. He had a job. He was going to school, and we had something in common. We were both separated from our spouses, and for me personally, I was trying to reconcile with my husband. And that's
okay. Sir, let me hear some background from you.
Well, if I may, Your Honor, me and Rosa, once again, yes, we did grow up with one another. She went out with a mutual friend of mine, and she was always uppity and Miss Prissy and, you know, lifestyles of the rich and famous, real picky, you know, as picky as she could be, always had the nice stuff and so forth. Now she also does still have that. She lives like the Beverly Hills housewives, you know, she drives the Lexus. All the great things that you could possibly have.
Does she act like them?
Oh,
behave like them?
Definitely. She's shopping and having a great time all the time.
No, the other stuff, bickering and all that.
Oh, bickering and crying and whining about what she can't get when she really can't get it and so forth. So, yeah, she's got it pretty good. And thanks to her husband, she gets to stay home and be a mother to her child and move forward every day with a smile on her face and fat pockets.
All right. You talked about her. How about you? What's your life like?
I'm a carpenter. I work for the local 405 Carpenters Union.
Very good job.
And, you know, I've always worked really, really hard for what I have and the money that I get. And, you know, I work my way.
How did you get into that apprenticeship?
As a matter of fact, I worked non-union for many years, and the companies went under. And then I said I need to get into the union so I can get some sort of background to me. And I joined the union. I had to go through a 9-week apprenticeship school, made it through that, and now I'm...
Those are very hard to get in. So, in fact, you know, I got a whole story. I could sit here all day and talk about the problems that we have with the Carpenter's Apprentice programs, and I think there's been a lot of criticism that they need to step up their game in accepting Black and Latino men and women into those Carpenter Apprentice programs.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
You are right. We currently have a lot more women getting into the industry at this present time, and they are actually out on the job site with me, so you see the growth.
All right. And the watch, tell me about that.
Okay, so my husband's birthday was coming up, and David's a watch collector. I wanted to give my husband a nice gift for his birthday. So David had this watch that I purchased for $1,000. He came to my house on August 19th. It was the very next morning that a girlfriend of mine looked at it, and she noticed a dent, if you'd like to see it, in the
You say the next morning?
The very next morning, yes.
Let's see it, please.
Okay, so right there. It's over near the 9. It's around the edge.
You don't have to tell me where it's at. That's the first thing that stands out. You didn't see this?
Mm-mm, I did not.
Did you look at it?
I did. I looked at it.
All right. And did you see it when your girlfriend showed it to you?
Yes.
Did she have to point to it?
Yes, she did.
You wear glasses?
No.
Then maybe that's the problem. You need glasses.
Maybe
you need glasses. When you called him, what did he say?
At first, he wasn't willing really to do anything. Then he said, well, I'll give you half. If you give me back the watch, I'll give you half the money now, and I'll give you the other half when I can.
Okay.
And I said at that point, no way. I'm not going to give you the watch, not knowing if I'm going to ever see back the rest of the money. All I really wanted to do was get my money back.
I know it wasn't your business, but you should say, what'd you do with that money overnight?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Ask him.
What did you do with that money overnight?
Well, I paid some bills. Had a good time with the money.
There you go. You had a good time. You went to the bar and bought the bar out.
Money, yes.
Gave it to the strippers.
I get up.
The strippers
I wouldn't doubt
got
it.
your money.
Plaintiff Rosa Chu is suing her former friend, who claims Rosa acts like she's on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Sir, what do you say to this?
Well, you know, she is so very picky about everything, and she's always been that way. Had the dent been on the watch, she would have never bought the watch from me. The bottom line is I sold her the watch. I sold her it as is. She then therefore proceeded to give me the money. She was showing her son, and then it's cut and dry. She called me the next day and said that there was a dent on it. Now, I never saw the dent on the watch either. So during that 24-hour period, I think something had happened. And at that time, she's so picky, she could never, and her husband's very picky also, she could never give her husband a watch like that she maybe have dropped or something had happened along those lines.
Okay,
that was it.
But did you offer her a refund and the payment of $500 and $500?
No, I didn't. I actually said, see, she would come to a mutual friend of ours' house, and the situation got uncomfortable. So she continuously kept bugging me to if I could give her back $500 of the money. So I agreed, you know, yeah, I'll give you $500 back of the money, okay? And you get to keep the watch, okay? And but then I went to sleep and I said, you know, I don't.
So you only offered to give her $500.
$500, that's right.
Not give her the other $500 later?
Absolutely not. And nor did I even think, for that matter, that when I woke up, I'm like, you know, I don't owe her anything. The watch went to her perfectly fine. Now I'm having to pull out of my pocket to pay for something, and I don't even get the watch back. So I just said, you know what? It's just not worth it. It's just, I don't feel I should get rooked on this whole thing.
And this was an as-is purchase, ma'am, and you had a duty to inspect that watch before you
I didn't think I had to inspect it. I trusted him.
Oh, yes, you did. You definitely should look at something before you put $1,000. You said you didn't, man. You said you didn't have a duty. You didn't think you did. And I'm going to let you keep your watch and dismiss your claim. You had a duty to look at that watch. That looks open and obvious. I suspect that something might have happened to it as well within that 24-hour period. Your claim is dismissed. Keep the watch, though.
All right.
Just have to play it one day at a time.
I really don't have anything to say.
If you have a question about any of today's cases, go to my website, askjudgemathis.com.